What's going on, guys? We are reacting to Tucker Carlson and Thomas Massie, our favorite politician and our favorite newscaster. They are going in regards to this war. And this is Thomas Massie on the House floor the other day calling for the House to talk and debate and to vote on this war that this president is getting us into.
New York. Mr. Speaker, James Madison wrote to Thomas Jefferson in 1789, "The Constitution supposes what the history of all governments demonstrates, that the executive branch of power is the most interested in war and most prone to it. It has accordingly, with studied care, vested the question of war in the legislature. The Constitution is clear. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 of our Constitution provides Congress initiatory powers of war.
As we know, though, since Obama, Biden, George Bush, they really never had Congress voting on war. They just brought us into wars. We need to go back to those original standards where Congress votes on it, where you actually care that the 90% of the people don't want to go into the wars. The Uniparty has totally ignored what the American people have been asking them to do forever. And now Massey's bringing it back to the forefront on what we're supposed to be doing. You just don't go into war and start bombing and killing people. Also, this administration is lying about the deaths. I've been hearing there's over 100 already American deaths. If that's true, I don't even have words for it. This was such a pointless war, but it just confirms what I've been saying. The Epstein files is bigger than we know. It takes down the whole cabal. And Trump or people that Trump surrounds himself around are all involved.
Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 of our Constitution gives the president operational powers of war to wage that war. Even if this body were to pretend that the 1973 War Powers Resolution supersedes the clear language of the Constitution, the president still has not met the conditions required by that law itself. The 1973 War Powers Resolution states plainly that the president may only introduce U.S. armed forces into hostilities pursuant to three conditions. Either 1, declaration of war, 2, specific statutory authorization, or 3, a national emergency created by an attack upon the United States. None of those conditions exist today. Iran has not attacked the United States, Congress has not declared war, and Congress has not granted specific statutory authorization. Beyond the constitutional question, here lies an even more important one. Why are we going to war with Iran? We owe our military service members a clear mission. And American families in my district want to know how this is going to help them pay for groceries.
It's not. That is the point. This is a distraction. There's always a distraction. It's always a distraction from something. Epstein files, Iran war. Epstein files, bombing Iran. Just Epstein files, go kidnap the Venezuelan president. Now we're not even talking about daily essentials at this point with this administration. They're completely ignoring us and only speaking and doing things that are prolonging this war. It's very upsetting.
How does this make them any safer in their schools or in their neighborhoods? How does this help them pay for housing?
Exactly.
Have we learned nothing from the laundry list of wars and regime change experiments we've
Obviously
sparked
not.
across the Middle East that have racked up a total of at least $8 trillion of debt in Iraq, Libya, Syria, Afghanistan? A sustained war with Iran will not stabilize the region. It's already ignited the region. It will radicalize new generations of terrorists, and it will send more swarms of refugees into Europe and the United States. Iran is not Venezuela. The Ayatollah was not a president. He was a religious leader from a region notorious for radical Islamists. And the United States and Israel turned him into a martyr. And in the process of doing so, we've already expended billions of dollars, and more solemnly, 6 American families must now lay to rest their sons and daughters. And for what?
There was this viral video as well, and I believe I reacted to it the other day, where our soldiers, our service members that have, been killed, may they rest in peace, and their families, pray for their families. But there was a video at the top. It was the soldiers getting, brought back in the plane, and then the families are running up crying, and then below it's people in Israel dancing in bunkers underground and throwing parties and cheering. That's the clear hypocrisy between the two sides. One side fights and dies for Israel's freedom or Israel's wars, and then the other side, Israel, doesn't fight at all. And they just take American service soldiers and have them fight their wars while they're partying underground.
This administration can't even give us a straight answer as to why we launched this preemptive war. The president says we had to strike first because an Iranian strike was imminent. Meanwhile, the Department of Defense conceded there was no evidence of an imminent Iranian strike. Some told us this war was about nuclear weapons, but 6 months ago, we were assured our last strike on Iran decimated their nuclear program. So which is it? I think the most candid answer came from the Secretary of State, who told the press that Israel forced our hand and dragged us into this war again. And that truth is the very reason why it is Congress that must decide war. If American lives are to be risked and American blood is to be shed, that decision must be debated and voted on by the representatives of the American people. And that debate is meant to be arduous. And that vote is meant to be hard. I have a theory. I think my colleagues don't want to go on record because we have a terrible track record of meddling in the Middle East. They don't want their name associated with this when it doesn't turn out.
And this doesn't make me support Iran. I support no one. I support America and America only. But if you were bombing and killing their families, our soldiers, that is on behalf of Israel for 30 plus years, they use this as the talking point to go and attack them constantly. Oh, they wish death upon America. We have been murdering them on mass scales for decades. Wouldn't you be saying the same thing if people came into your home, killed your families? It's just, people don't think that way. I always think that way. Like, what have we done to them to make them feel this way about us? Not saying that they're good people, but I mean, they have reasons to hate America.
Well, but Congress cannot be bothered with its constitutional duty because for many in this chamber, it's easier to simply allow someone else's sons and daughters to be sent to combat without their vote. And to be clear, we aren't even here to declare war today. All we're voting on is a war powers resolution to reassert the Constitution, that Congress must decide questions of war. And if Congress wants war, then the Speaker should hold a vote to declare it. Some say Congress authorizes war when we pay for it, when we pass the budget bill. Here's the problem. We haven't taken on the hard work of defining the mission for our sons and daughters who are going to fight. That's not in the budget bill. It never is. And to the men and women who are engaged in combat, I sincerely thank you, and I pray for your safety. It is for you that I wrote this resolution. It is for you that all of us are here on this floor working so hard to force this vote so that you will have a clear mission that you deserve, so that you will know when you achieve it, you can come home. And with that, I urge support for this resolution, and I yield back.
He has really come out lately on top. I absolutely love Thomas Massie. He has morals. He doesn't, bend the knee just because the MAGA conservatives, as you call them, go down on Trump every chance they can. He actually, fights for his state. He fights for the American people. And I love that he's trying to put all the members on notice and their voting record on notice so that people know exactly who and who not to vote for in the future. I love that about Thomas Massie, and he doesn't stay quiet, as he shouldn't. He's fighting for us, the people.
I looked up the quote that I was thinking of from Real Clear Politics. Trump told them, this was the other night, Thomas Massie is now losing his election by 35 points. I wouldn't rely too much on him or any of them. We're having a big victory, and we are taking the nuclear weapon concept away from Iran. Your response, Congressman?
Well, I'm doing better in the polls than he said last time. Like, he said I was at 9% the last time he tweeted. Obviously, I'm not at 9% if I'm losing by 35, but I'm not losing by 35. In spite of having $5 million spent against me by the Republican Jewish Coalition, and then another $1 million funneled by AIPAC to my opponent's coffers, I'm still on top. I have the grassroots support in Kentucky. And what's ironic, it's not even ironic, it should just be apparent to everybody now that these donors, the Republican Jewish Coalition and AIPAC, they don't really represent Jewish people. They represent the military industrial complex and sort of banking and rich billionaires. And
yeah, I've even seen a lot of normal Jewish people come out recently against the Israel government and the Zionists, the Talmud, who I would suggest everyone, if you're going to look up two things, look up the Greater Israel Project and look up the Talmud, if that's how you pronounce it correctly, which is the new Zionist belief. They think that us Americans and us Christians are goy or trash. They think they're entitled to use us, steal from us, and kill us. Look it up. It's in the Talmud, whatever the hell that religion is. I'm pretty sure it's called the Talmud, but these Zionists, they don't relate with the normal Jewish people. These are, the rich, as he's saying, the banking industries, the cartels, the Epstein besties. All of these people are involved.
They are opposed to me for two reasons. It's not because I voted against a big, beautiful bill. It's because I pushed the Epstein Files Transparency Act through and threatened a lot of their friends, exposed a lot of their friends. I mean, these guys are even in the files themselves, and that's not an implication of guilt. I'm just saying they travel among these people in the Epstein files, the Epstein class, as Ro Khanna calls them, and I like to call it that as well. But they're also very much for war in the Middle East. And, I say that AIPAC isn't really even an Israeli lobby. It's a military industrial complex lobby.
Yes.
And
Yes. He couldn't have said that any better. Military industrial complex. They profit off wars. They get rich off wars, and our taxes fund it. They just circle it back in their campaigns while their taxes fund genocide, while it funds regime changes, while it funds trafficking these children out of these, third world countries, even including America. And they make millions off it. They're making millions off of war, bills, these islands, these Epstein islands. It never benefits us, and it always benefits them. And it always benefits Israel.
People who are winning right now in this war with Iran, look, it's ignited the region. It hasn't brought stability, it's brought instability. You've got what were nations that sort of get along with each other, they're like, what the hell, bro? You just blew up my refinery, right? Things are burning, ships are burning, people who were in commerce are no longer in commerce. And the only people that are benefiting from any of this are folks like Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and the people making those drones and the anti-missile batteries.
Yeah, BlackRock, Vanguard. And then once these homes and cities are bombed out and gone, what they do is they buy it up for a cheap portion of the price, fix it up, and then flip it for 10 price that. That's what they do. That's what they do in Ukraine. That's what they do in all these war-torn countries. Tucker Carlson and Thomas Massie, they are a breath of fresh light. They give us truth. They don't bow the knee. And I love that. I think that this should be the 2028 presidential unity ticket across the board. Because how don't you like Thomas Massie? How don't you like Tucker Carlson? I feel like that is a ticket that can unite all of America. Not all of America, but I'd say about 80% of America. But Tucker just released this yesterday, and this is powerful.
So as I said, I flew up to DC 3 times in the last month to try to convince Trump not to do this. It didn't work. It happens. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, boy, this is not going to get better. So then I think I'll fly up again and ask him. I mean, I don't know if anyone else is doing it, so I'm going to try to just declare victory and go home. Like, you killed an 86-year-old cleric. Let's just call that a win and then pull back. And so then, meantime, he got convinced to denounce me. Okay. I don't care. I'm going to fly up anyway and see him, right? Even though he's like denouncing
the real
me.
man.
So I call over there to see, call someone who knows him. I've said, I'm just going to fly up anyway and tell him this because I think it's so important. And the person says, don't bother, because he's being shown polling that this war is like a 90-10 win.
How much you want to bet that shit came from Fox News? Someone like Hannity or Laura Ingraham, these neocon warmonger idiots that the Murdochs own. I mean, I used to watch Fox News like every day. now you couldn't pay me to turn that on. I haven't watched Fox in probably a year and a half since I've had my actual awakening that all big media sucks. But it's hilarious that anyone would think 90% of the American people support this war.
For him. And I said, I don't know where that polling is coming from. It's like, I guess you could make any kind of poll, and he's watching Fox News, which is telling him the same thing, and he's getting fake polling. I guess they're only polling Sean Hannity's viewers or something. And so I'm not sure that there's a sense, as if this was yesterday, because I was getting so agitated and worried. I don't think that there's a sense that this is unpopular. Like, I think there's an information vacuum here.
There's a massive information vacuum. And, for the president and the administration who declared victory based on internet and vibes and podcasts, let's take a survey, shall we, of every podcast that he appeared on. And how do they feel about the Iran conflict? You can look very clearly for yourself. You can look at a lot of the polling of that same demographic, which they were very excited about, young men in particular. How are they feeling about this conflict? And, if you were saying 90-10, it's not even true in the Republican sense. I mean, the latest one that I saw was like 72% Republicans, which, by the way, Mr. President and everybody in the administration, Bush had 93 for Iraq. And how did that turn out for him? So
see, but these are not younger generation. These are all people that watch Fox News. These are boomers. These are people that are on their last days, unfortunately, who support these wars, who will not go to these wars. It will be the younger generation. We need to be pulling, I would say, under 50, because under 50 would probably be a 90% easily anti-war, especially if you knew the actual facts of the war and what started it and who we're fighting for in regards to this war. Israel.
Let's not put all of our eggs in the basket of just because Republican voters are here, that this is all going to be like sunshine and roses. And I also would not make the spurious claim that it's all about Iran. It's about compounding effects. The gas price effect of the Iran conflict is going to be dramatically more important to the White House's political chances in the midterms than anything that's actually happening on the ground. I don't think it should be that way, but that's reality. And I do think also, your inclination to get him to try and declare victory, that's the correct move from a strategic perspective, an economic perspective, from every political perspective. You don't want the entire country's national discourse focus on Iran. I'll give you a good example. Just yesterday, the White House did a summit where they were trying to address rising electricity prices on data centers. In another world, no Iran, that's a main topic of conversation on my show. A major topic.
Yeah, see, I mean, every administration, all these politicians, they're so out of touch with everything Americans are dealing with on a daily basis. This was today, I believe. Netanyahu threatened the West. What are you gonna do about it, big boy Trump? You gonna let him talk to us like this? You gonna let this war criminal Satan himself threaten America? I demand the Western governments do what is necessary to fight anti-Semitism and provide the required safety and security for the Jewish communities worldwide. They will be well advised to heed our warnings. This dude needs to just go away and never come back. This is Satan reincarnated right here, guys. Ugh. I don't know how anyone even fucks with these people at this point. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Hope you guys have a blessed Saturday with you and your loved ones. Also, YouTube has been shadow banning the hell out of me these past 3 weeks. So if you can, please like, comment, hit that subscribe button, and share. Have a blessed day.